Hi guys, this is my short review and summary of Success Principle 1 from Jack Canfield's book, The Success Principles. And this chapter is take 100% responsibility for your life. So that is Success Principle number 1. And this means everything. So from your job, your money, your health, relationships, debts, finances, everything. We're talking like no blame. We're talking it's not your parents' fault, it's not your boss's fault, it's not your partner's fault, it's not the economist's fault. It's really about where you currently are in your life is because of you, and it's about coming to that realization in the moment and accepting it and being ready to move forward from there. So we're either the problem or the solution for ourselves, basically. And it's about no longer looking outside of ourselves for why there are problems in our lives. It's really the point where we take ownership and step up and say, it's my life, I've got to take control. So it can sound a little bit harsh if you're new to this personal development world. For me, I guess I wasn't surprised this was Success Principle 1 because I've spent a lot of time reading a lot of different things and looking at all sorts of different resources in terms of personal development, and it seems to be the foundation that everyone builds off. So like any sort of life coach or anyone producing this kind of content, it's a very much a foundational part of moving ahead in life and creating success in whatever it may be that you want to achieve in your life. So sort of any and every element of your life, it's the first step is to take responsibility for where you currently are. Basically saying what you need to do is give up all of your excuses, all of your blaming and complaining, and realize you're the creator and you're not the victim. So it's kind of letting go of your victim stories. It can sound a little bit daunting, but it's actually really empowering. It's empowering because we're saying that if we have been the creator of everything so far that has gotten us where we are, then we now have the power to recreate and choose where we want to go. So you take the ownership first, you realize where you are and where you want to be, and then you figure out ways to get to where you want to be, and you're now in control of that. So we've always had the power to create, but we tend to choose not to use it. We tend to let ourselves sit on autopilot and just kind of play victims of circumstance and events. So it's really about taking that ownership, and it's about self-awareness. So what are the thoughts, behaviors, actions, and things that you've taken that have gotten you to this point, and what would you do differently if you wanted a different outcome? So Jack talks about a formula that he learnt from his mentor, which is event plus response equals outcomes. So E plus R equals O. And that the outcome is really created by how we respond to the event, not by the event itself. So he points out that any event that can go on, any circumstance in life, it can be the same event for two different people, but they can have completely different outcomes, and that is because they respond differently. So someone may flourish during an economic downturn while someone else may lose everything because of their response to the situation. Same with, people who might grow up with an alcoholic parent and become an alcoholic themselves, or people will become a success, even though they've had a similar upbringing. It's not down to the upbringing, it's down to their response as they've come to a point where they can start to make their own choices and create the life they want. So some people flourish and reach their full potential, other people don't, and it's about being the response that is going to make you flourish and have the outcome that you want. So it's never about the event, it's always about the response to the event. When we blame the event, we're just blaming our poor responses, and like we're defending our poor responses and bad habits. Like, no one made you procrastinate on that. No one made you eat the bad food. No one made you stay up drinking all night. It's that response that we took that we need to take ownership of, because no one else made us do it. It's always us. So when we then think about the things we can change, because we know we can't change the event, we are left with what's in our control. So our thoughts, our behaviors, our habits, how we connect with others, how we communicate, our belief systems, and the things that we actually can keep working on and developing within ourselves until we get a desired outcome. So we just have to allow ourselves the ability to become unstuck from our conditioned responses, and that really is about that level of self-awareness and having that direction to move forward. So he talks really bluntly about putting an end to blaming and complaining. Again, it's like you took the action, you ate the bad food, you gambled the money away, you did whatever you did. So just take responsibility and decide what's next. The more you dwell on the bad things that have happened, the more you're probably going to get stuck in rehashing that same behavior, those same thoughts and whatnot. So he said complaining is basically just an ineffective response, that it doesn't create a better outcome. So it's a major waste of time. We tend to sit in the complaint because it's safe. Change can take time, it takes money and effort, and all of these things can cause some degree of discomfort to us. So you've really just got to decide if you're going to accept that where you are is where you're going to stay because you're just too scared for the discomfort, or you're going to commit to the change. But either way, he's like, just cut the complaining, because it doesn't do anything. He makes a good comment about complaint, is that we tend to always complain to the wrong people. We complain at work about our partners, and then when we get home we complain about the people we work with to our partner, and then we talk about our family with our friends, we talk about our friends with our family, and we're always sort of complaining to the wrong people. So he makes a point that successful people request solutions to problems, from the person that they're having the problem with, rather than complaining about problems to people that can't fix it. So it's so simple and makes so much sense. But I think that we don't always think that way. We're so set in our ways, and everybody tends to be doing that type of thing. So it's a good thing to keep in mind. So one thing he says that I really love is that you either create or allow everything that happens to you. So just decide if you're going to be on autopilot and be someone that just allows everything, or if you're going to become the creator of your life, which is what we should all be, and what we all get to be, which should be the excitement in life, really, shouldn't it? So, and just do more of what works and do less of what doesn't work. So when you talk about that, the formula for the E plus R equals O, like, you can keep changing your response to certain things. You can play with it until you get the desired outcome. You might not get it right the first time around, but it's about figuring out what is going to work to get the desired outcome, rather than just rehashing the same behavior time and time again. So you either have what you want or you don't, and you look at your life and you figure out that you're responsible for it, and then you make the decision to take responsibility and make the changes. So as I share these principles with you guys from the book going forward, I want to be open about sort of my journey and how I'm trying to impart each principle in my life and what I'm trying to do and achieve. And as I mentioned, being 100% responsible for your life is not really a new principle for me, because I've been spending a lot of time in the personal development world for a long time now. So this didn't really surprise me or shock me or anything that this was number one. But I definitely can understand why it's number one, and it's definitely something I've been trying to do myself for a long time. And it takes practice, and it takes a lot of self-awareness. It takes switching off autopilot, and it's something I have to keep reminding myself all the time in every aspect of my life, because it's so easy to default back to old behaviors. But it is really, really empowering, and when you commit to creating the life that you want, and changing your responses as you go, and then enjoying the outcomes more and more, you really do want to keep continuing doing this type of thing. So I would say it's definitely a great place to start, and I think it's where the journey really does all begin. So that's why it's Success Principle 1. And yeah, I think that it's an awesome chapter. As I said, I recommend the book very highly, and stay tuned because the next video will be Success Principle 2. Thank you. Bye.